Hello and welcome to Untamed Leader. My guest today is the amazing Brian Perry. He is back again, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. And then I'll say one more thing.
Hi, I'm so honored and grateful and privileged to be here, Lauri. Yay.
Yay.
Glad to be back here with you. I'm Brian Perry. I enter the world as a singer-songwriter and authentic communication coach. And today I get to be here with my friend and someone who inspires me very deeply, Lauri Smith. And I get to be of service. She shifts directions, which she was about to talk to you about. So there you go. Me. What up?
Welcome. So I'm shifting directions. We announced that this podcast has changed from the Soulful Speaking Show into Untamed Leader. And about a year ago, I released an episode where we flipped things and Brian interviewed me. And I got the intuitive Untamed hit to do that again to kick off season 3. So Brian is going to interview me. Take it away, Brian.
Yay. Well, I'm so excited because, yes, as you have said in your trailer and as you have said a little bit here and there, it is a new direction this season. It's not just a new season. It's a new series. It's a new show. It's a new focus. And I've watched that emerge for you in such a rich and beautiful way. And one of the things I was thinking about earlier is you talked about this shift into Untamed Leader as an expansion, but also a return home. And I'm curious about the return home. Can you start there?
Yeah. I have always loved and been called to the 3 things that it feels like are Untamed Leader. Leaders, people wanting to change the world, who see the possibility for things to be different, aka better in some way. And ever since I walked into my very first coaching class at the now Coactive Training Institute, the way of helping people to move through life with choices from the present moment toward the better that they're called to, I've loved it. And I've also had a passion for speaking in a way that is wild, vibrant, and alive from head to toe, beyond most people's imagination. And so I feel like these have always been here. And when I walked into my very first ever coaching class, we were about 15 minutes in, and I turned to the person next to me and I said, I think I've just found the final piece of what I'm here to do. And she went, wow, what is that? And I said, I can't answer you with my left brain yet. It was like coaching and the way the Coactive Training Institute did it in that class was one of my homes.
Yeah.
Another one was the particular kind of speaking voice training that I had done, which was Fitzmaurice voice work. And that seed that happened that day feels like, well, if you look at it, it's like I drifted over into only doing speaking coaching. And really, I'm coming back home to the essence of what it was that had me turn to her and say, I feel like I've just found the final piece of what I'm here to do.
So just that small thing.
Yeah.
Just the final piece. Many questions. I think that if I'm the listener, I also have questions about, you just dropped in the name of a program that's got a couple of programs that are interesting, but I think what I'm trying to think of the perspective of if I'm a listener right now, and I've been enjoying your podcast as it was, and it's shifting into this new direction of Untamed Leader. You may recall at one point when you and I were talking one-on-one, I pushed back and I was like, I don't know what the hell Untamed Leader is. Like, this doesn't resonate with me. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what that means. And you told me, you said, actually, has never sort of, I've never said anything, done anything in my work really that's resonated as immediately for you, but
Mm-hmm.
also for the people as you've shared it out. Tell me more about Untamed Leader.
Mm.
Like, I'm somebody who's going, well, what the heck is that? Is that just some new gimmick?
Yeah.
Is that a shtick? Because I want to be clear to the listener in this moment, I'm not here to help Lauri sell something. I'm here because I'm a big fan. And I'm here to explore more about this shift, which I have seen emerge in you as your friend,
Mm-hmm.
as something that has been lighting you up.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that light.
Yeah. So I mentioned it started with me hearing the phrase in my head and having a like, ooh, like there's an energy there
Mm-hmm.
for me. And my mind goes crazy just like everybody else's. And it was like, oh, untamed is a way to explain what I know is possible for people when they're speaking on a stage or in front of a green camera light.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, well, that's aligned. And it's weaving back in the change maker piece. And over time, what has continued to excite me and gotten clearer and clearer for me is we're living in a world where we need actual leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of confusion and argument in the world about what does it mean to lead. And one of the things I love about Untamed Leader is I believe the leaders that we need are seeing the possibility of things being different. They're committed to moving toward that. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that makes that even stronger is to let go of any of the ways that the world has tamed us. So things like I was told I should be this way, I should look like this if I'm a leader, I should wear this, I should run my business like this, all of
Mm-hmm.
those nasty shoulds and the way it's done. And they're kind of insidious. Like we live in a world where we have help and support of letting those things go. And I am still surprised myself when I've been doing a thing in the way that I think it's supposed to be done, because it can become like, well, that's the only option. Well, it's hard to lead in a tamed world that tells you there are only certain options available.
Mm-hmm.
And leading is also involves creating something that did not exist before in exactly the way that we're creating it, which is harder to do from tamed and guardrails, and it has to fit within this box. Those are some of the things that I love about Untamed, from our presence being the wild, alive, primal body meeting some kind of sense of purpose,
Mm-hmm.
to making choices in our lives where all the options are back on the table because we've untamed or we're untaming. And then we make the choice that is right for us in that moment.
See, this is what I've heard you talk about. I've heard you talk about with the soulful speaking, the soulfulness, trying to channel that and tap into that, right? I've heard you talk
Mm-hmm.
about people kind of showing up in their radiance and breaking free of some of those, the old models for speaking. And
Mm-hmm.
with leadership, what I'm hearing you say in this moment is that, is that in fact, this moment that we find ourselves in, where there is a heightened level of chaos and uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
by any measure, whether you're a fan of it or deeply opposed to it, it's a thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that uncertainty, that chaos challenges you to find a new path.
Mm-hmm.
And what I hear you saying in this moment is that sometimes what we can get stuck in as leaders is the same thing we get stuck in as speakers, which is, well, I'm supposed to be this. Well, I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that there are certain ideas that emerge for you but I can't do that because it doesn't fit. These are the tools. It's almost like if you're going to your toolbox and you're going, well, I've never used it for that before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, well, what would happen if you did?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember being a kid and this was the wrong way to use this tool, so don't do it.
Yeah.
But I remember feeling like a damn genius the first time I like used like a Phillips head screwdriver to drill something a little bit that I needed drilled. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's not what it was designed for. In fact, that's
Yeah.
the opposite of what it was designed for. In fact, that's what it looks like to strip out a screw, really, if you're doing, you know, but it allowed me to play with it when I stepped free of, well, I have to accomplish this thing. How can I get there?
Yeah.
How can I think differently? Here's what I'm trying to get to, I think, is I'm trying to marry in my head. You've talked about the tension between that vision you talked about a leader holding
Mm-hmm.
and being present and having presence. And it
Mm-hmm.
sounds to me like, and you always talk about the value of sort of claiming your radiance,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
previously as a speaker, but now expanding that to also what that means as a leader.
Mm-hmm.
So it was what I'm hearing you say is that it's, yes, you're holding a vision that you've internalized,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're being present and trusting your radiance.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Yeah.
fair? And what am I missing?
Yeah. That is fair. Being present, holding the vision. Leadership lives in that kind of creative friction, the creative tension between I'm here and I know there is possible and I'm not there yet, and trusting our radiance everywhere. On a stage, when I'm choosing something in my life, can I listen to my own aliveness and make the choice that feels right in the moment?
What does that look like? Like, what is that like practically? What is that? How does that emerge for you?
Yeah. He's asking me, folks, about the part that is the hardest for me. So,
Yeah. Well, that's,
put me on a stage or there with a client in front of me, and I can't help at this point but trust my own radiance, trust where things are alive. When I'm leading through running a business that is committed to things like being part of or leading a movement of untamed leaders, when I'm sitting alone at my computer making a decision, this is the hardest place for me. It is the place where I have historically become the most tamed. So, how it's looking these days is I notice when I'm way up in my head, when I feel like I don't have a body, when I'm making endless spreadsheets about a single fucking choice. Like, should I have a play shop at this time or that time? Which one should I have next for my community? I'm a little further past this, but there have been times where I've sat there for like days making spreadsheets, weighing the pros and cons and which one should I do. And the experts say that you should have this offer that leads to that offer that leads to that offer. So been there, done that.
there's the trap though, right? That's where the should lives, is in
Yes.
the, it should is a placeholder for what's the perfect decision that will result in everything I want.
Yes. In scarcity, what's the perfect decision that will result in everything I want that will save me from the scarcity?
Yeah.
And the way it works for me when I untame is I do something to get out of my head and down more into my body and into my whole self, where I can feel my whole physical body. I can see peripheral vision. Even if I'm sitting here at this very same desk, it's like everything opens up and I can see what's moving outside, birds flying by the window. And then I notice my own energy as I'm considering options. Quite often for me, I let the decision go until something happens and I get something that feels like when Untamed Leader first came in, there was an energy and an excitement. And as I'm saying it to you now, I love responding to my clients, the people in my programs, and the world.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be something like I'm leading a class in the Untamed Leader Collective, and 3 people say something that all might seem different. And it strikes me as, oh, those are all related. So here's the next play shop we're going to do, because it's what's needed in this space, or it's what I got a ping on or called to.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was in my head trying to figure it out with no peripheral vision, I'm leading a class and this is great, and then I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet and try to figure out what to do next.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have been open enough to notice. They said 3 things that seem different, and they all go to one root place.
What I hear you describing is a greater, like your presence. Again, you said presence earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's a. Am I interrupting? By the way, I thought I might. That it felt like there's. What I hear you saying is it's deeper listening. That like when you talked about that your awareness expands and you're starting to take in the birds and the things outside in your space, like everything turns up. It becomes more sensitive. The sound of things turning up, that it all becomes more heightened, and your awareness just becomes sort of more electric. All of which is a sort of deeper listening.
Yeah, and it's a deeper listening to myself and to the world and to the people in my world. So that if I'm on a yoga mat, and yoga is a great place to open and have deeper listening. Sometimes the answers come when I'm in the shower or on the yoga mat. They don't tend to come when I'm sitting in the spreadsheets. Spreadsheets hold things for me. I don't actually come up with answers in them very often.
Yeah.
And there's also a patience and a willingness to not have the final answer yet, that I personally, at this moment in time, have to actively practice. I don't know if that means at some point answers will come more quickly to me. And for right now, like I'll say, for example, we did an Untamed Leader winter retreat where it came in, and eventually in the winter, one thing unfolded to the next thing, unfolded to the next thing. I heard the number 7. We had 7 leaders. It was magical. Like people are still talking about that.
It was a fantastic time. Yeah.
Well, then I was like, I think we're going to have another one in the spring. And it wasn't coming to me. I started exploring the possibility of doing something else instead of that. Willing to let it go, which has also been a theme that's kind of been up for me in my world lately. Like willing to just go, it's not meant to be, I'm letting it go. And it helps for me to get in conversations with people that I trust when I'm in the process, just to talk about what's going on in my life, because then something might come in from me or them. And I had a conversation with someone about 2 weeks ago, and then the next day I find myself in a group space, and all of a sudden I go, oh, I know what it is. It's about embodying the person that we are that fulfills the vision. It's like spring embodiment moving out into the world, and very much on transforming ourselves, our body, our presence, our way of showing up in the world to be the one that walks the path to the vision. It's amazing. It's the essence. We're 3 weeks away from when it's supposed to start. I still don't know if it's supposed to be the same length as the other one was. I have a feeling it's meant to be a little shorter because it's spring.
Mm-hmm.
So let's practice some embodiment things and then go out in the world and put them into practice in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know exactly how many people are meant to lead it. I feel like it's probably me and two other people, one of which is you. By the way, we'll talk about that later.
Sounds good.
You know, I have a big part of me that's like, I hope I get clarity on things faster from all this deep listening, that answers will just start to come in faster. And those are some of the ways that I'm untaming when I'm by myself. And I also notice it with clients and people that are program participants.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've gotten so into Untamed, I'm listening and looking for those things with a renewed heightened awareness of like, where's the should? Where's the thing they think they have to do? Where's the thing that they're pissed off at because they did it for so long? And how can we honor that they're pissed off at this should? There's a lot of confusion because of a should, while also like shine a light and help them walk where they want to go without being trapped by the should or the pissed off at the should. So there's a heightened way of helping others do that, because it's sort of like, and I'll stop talking after this and let you ask another question. Years and years ago, I saw this Volkswagen Jetta commercial, and I loved that commercial. There was like a music and rain, and it was just so cool. And then I started seeing Volkswagen Jettas everywhere, and I did eventually buy one of my own. It's sort of like I am on the lookout for taming. And how can I move past the taming? And how can we all move past the taming? And there's just this amazing, wonderful energy in that.
There's so many things for me. What I like about the notion of moving past taming is I hear the thing that can be easy when you're listening to this conversation. I think when you're listening to the way you talk about leadership, is it can be easy to sort of feel like it's squishy or woo, or just it sure, okay. But ask any professional athlete or Olympian how much of what they do is about presence. Ask Alyssa Liu or Liu, I'm never sure which it is. But one of the things that I adored so much about her gold medal run there. Well, first off, I should say that I had become familiar with her well before the games, and I had every expectation. This is hilarious. I've not said that I had every expectation she wasn't going to win. And I was all psyched to talk about how it didn't matter. And then she won, and everybody was talking about it, and I didn't want to be talking about it in that moment, that's something I'm working on in therapy. But anyway, but she, what I loved about her talking about her performances over and over again, they wanted to kind of corner her in the shoulds, corner her in how she was doing this thing and doing that thing and leaning on this other thing. And she was just like, I was having fun.
Yeah.
That I was doing all those things before. I did all that work. And then I got really clear that my vision for doing this thing is that I love doing it. And that I love pushing myself to new places because I love that act of pushing myself to new places. And it's fun. So I'm going to come out here and I'm going to have fun. Well, what were you thinking when you were warming up? I was thinking it's fun. What were you thinking while you were performing? I was thinking this is fun. Like that she was dialed into that which lights her up about it. And in so doing, she created this lit container that we all got to join her in, which is itself an act of artistic leadership.
Yes.
that can sound woo, but
Mm-hmm.
is extraordinarily practical.
Yeah, it's that. It's like, she was called to ice skate
Mm,
at some point. It was fun for her. And then in 2022, 2016, whatever, it's
yeah,
some point she quit because it wasn't fun for her because there was a whole lot of shooting
yeah,
in the environment. So she walked away and then she got a calling to go back.
mm-hmm. Exactly.
Maybe I can go back and do it my way every single step of the way, from what I wear to what my routine is to how my hair looks to which moves I do. I'm going to do what's fun for me. I'm going to express what I feel like expressing because it feels good to me.
Exactly.
And in doing that, she's one of the most popular leaders on our planet right now.
Yep.
Because she showed people it's possible to go into one of the most challenging environments like academia, the Silicon Valley, being a woman, being a woman in a sport like ice skating,
Yeah.
like all of the sports for women in particular, though I'm sure men have this as well. How does your hair look? How does your makeup look? How does your outfit look? Do you look fat? Do you need to starve yourself in order to look bad? Are you winning? Are you just every single form of like chaos combined with a being judged metric?
Yeah.
She went in there
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and went, I'm not listening to any of it. I don't care if I win. I don't care if I make it to the Olympics. Oh, I'm at the Olympics. I'm in third place. Still don't care if I win. I'm going to express what I'm here to express,
Yeah.
is what kind of came into my, like, there's a part of her that's like, I love it. And I was born to do it.
And that's the thing. And that part, the part that where leadership emerges in those moments, to my mind, that's really aligned with what you're doing with Untamed Leadership is that, well, like when by it's what's the right word right now? I don't know what the right word is. Ugh. It's been well covered how, as you just said, when she called up her coaches and was like, I want to do this again. They were like, you can't. Like, this doesn't, people don't come back.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, what do you, and my imagining of that conversation was at some level, she was saying, what do you mean by come back? And what they were like, well, you can't win. And she was like, I don't care. I didn't say I want to come and win.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back. I love doing this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And what I think why this popped up for me, speaking of sort of being present to what's coming up, I think that I didn't watch, we still have a DVR in this house, and I was DVRing, we DVR'd those events, and I wanted to watch the individuals when I had time to
Mm-hmm.
be by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted to really let the way I process things might fly. I wanted my own neurodivergence and ADHD to really just have free reign and do its thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept rewinding as when the last skater went up and she skated, the woman who would become the bronze medalist, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And Alyssa was sitting on a stand like 25 feet to her left, if you're facing the two of them. And this is also a moment where she's just waiting to hear, like, whatever this woman gets points wise means where she's going to be on the podium.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time she was with that person, she had room for what was happening for her. Mm-hmm. When the scores were announced, there were people over here you could see saying to Alyssa, you did it, you won. And she's just like, I'm with her right now. Like, this is her moment. right? And she went up there and took her, and she was like, you won a medal. You did it. And that, the reason that matters to me in this moment is, and is something you talked about, is that you've talked about how you're not a political expert. And many people still characterize this as a moment in our culture, in our history that's political. I would argue it's not. Whether we're talking about the mechanisms of our country, in our world, that might operate in governmental forms, or we're talking about the dawn of AI, or all those different things, none of which we're about to get into, listeners, so hang tight. But you've talked about not being a political expert, but you've talked about that you're deeply attuned to what leadership asks of us in moments of uncertainty. And what leadership asks of us in moments of uncertainty, as you lay it out with vision creating and inspiring, those three tenets, it doesn't ask of us to show up with all the answers. It doesn't ask of us to show up with a 10-point plan. It asks of us to be willing to show up rooted in a knowing of what's possible, holding that vision, which then frees you to just be present and let moments emerge, be present and let things be fun, let it expand, let it reveal itself in that moment, because the problem can't be solved at the level at which it was created.
Yes. Mic drop.
Yeah. I mean, which is not, obviously not my wisdom. I don't know who was the originator of that, but that notion, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And yes. And for me, at times when we are in a time of chaos, because the old is no longer working, things become clearer to me in the middle of that intensity, so that the right choice for me, or me and the group that I'm leading or a part of, it becomes clear. It becomes freeing. That, for example, I'm not going to go into a lot of the details, but leading in a group where there was an abusive relationship with the leader of the group, and catching myself and everyone in the group waiting for the moment when the bomb would go off in the person. I didn't even know I was doing it. This is what I mean when I say the taming is everywhere. I have to be nice,
so
or
eggshell behavior, kind of
behavior. Like at some point in my life, I learned to do that in certain circumstances. And I would not have described myself as a people pleaser. I didn't think I had it. But clearly I did. And then the shit really hit the fan. And it was painful. And people, including me, were in tears. And one moment I'm sobbing with the other people in the group. And then I picked my head up and said, and it's all going to work out. And it's going to be even better, with like snot rolling down my face. And then it became reminding everybody else, this person is going to react. The bomb is going to go off. They will get triggered. We cannot predict it, avoid it, tap dance around it. So it makes it really clear that we need to make the right choice. And this is what that is. And then just when the triggering happens, make the right choice then.
Is this what, I'm sorry to interject, but is this what you're talking about when I've heard you talk about that untamed leadership frees you to move through the chaos without becoming the chaos? That in those moments of uncertainty testing you, it's where the leadership is revealed. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. That if we choose to stop whatever the tamed habit, adaptation, survival strategy. It's sort of like that was probably the right choice at some point in time for us.
Mm.
And when we become really present in this moment, that is no longer the right choice for this moment, given my knowing what I believe is possible, what I've set the intention to move toward, however we want to call that vision piece.
Yeah.
It's not the right choice anymore. So when you were talking about the toolbox earlier, the thing that I saw in my head is not only can you take a tool and use it in a different way,
Yeah.
but it's also like a toolbox that has two levels, like you open it up.
Yeah.
And there's the top level, and we can actually take the top level and go, if I put those aside, what other tools are down there?
Right. Yeah.
And start using those other tools down there, or using the Phillips head screwdriver to drill a hole in the wall.
Yeah. You start to reveal new tools that had been thus far overlooked.
Yeah.
And you start to, well, a lot of tools are a fun metaphor, because so much of, I learned a lot about tools in a variety of ways growing up, but a lot of what I learned was more like I'd hit a problem and I'd do exactly what you're talking about. Dig through the toolbox and be like, I wonder, is this what this does? Like, would this help? And very often I'd be using the thing wrong, and then somebody would come along, but I'd be using it in the ballpark, and then somebody come along and go, if you did this, and it was a little bit, I'm going to mix metaphors now. It was a little bit like, I was picked up a baseball bat and was hitting reasonably well with a baseball bat. Right. And then somebody came up and said, well, you know what would help is if you just choked up a little bit on the bat. And then suddenly I'm doing what I was doing, but much better. So that's, but what I pulled us off track a little bit, but what I loved about what you were sharing that I think is really powerful and important about offering a path to tapping into your own sense of untamed leadership is, I think, again, in this moment, in this particular timeline that we find ourselves in, I don't know what pill it was it took, but I ended up on this timeline, and it's I don't know anybody who's paying attention, who doesn't wish to, at the very least, alleviate the sense of chaos in their own lives. But most people that I know, that we know, are people that are looking to have impact. And therefore, whether they are in formal leadership roles or not, they are leaders. We are all leaders. You are a leader when you go to the grocery store. You are a leader when you drive home tonight in your car. In some capacity, you are a leader in your home. You are a leader with your pets. Good Lord. If there's any other place that you learn how, hey, there's chaos happening here. How can I avoid becoming the chaos? And how does that itself become the solution? Ask the dog whisperer about that. When you show up in the chaos and you hold space and you hold it solid and you tap into your own calm and essence and peace, what happens? It creates that.
Yeah. And some of what I noticed in your metaphor is,
which one?
the toolbox to the bat, that some of the tools in the second level it's the coming home that we started with. It's like an expansion. So I'm using all the tools. I've expanded back into all the tools, and I'm coming home to something that I actually knew that the world told me to forget about. Those are great places to look. Like, what were we like when we were younger? How did we navigate the world? There are some people who don't touch the tools. They look at the tools from all the different angles and then get up and use the tool. And that's their way. For you and I, it's a little bit more of like, what does this thing do? That is how we navigated the world when we were younger in order to learn and move forward. So when we go back to the way we did it when we were younger, there are signs there. And then someone saying, great, you're having a certain amount of effect with your natural urge, which is to do this with a bat and see what happens, the butt of the bat. And then someone comes along and says, what if you choked up on the bat and tried again? And
Yeah.
we're in our natural state. So we go, oh, okay, I'll try that.
Yeah. We're feeling playful.
Yeah.
Feeling willing. Yeah.
That's kind of our state for untamed leadership, that we go back to like, what was our innate way of navigating the world, moving from the present moment toward the thing we want, which is like to get that thing that we're hitting with the bat to do whatever we want it to do, with some fine tuning.
Yeah.
As an adult, where people are looking at our natural state and helping us to use our natural state even better to move toward the thing we're called to do, with more impact, with more ease. But there's a natural state and this ease and this movement at the same time.
See, what I adore about that, and it feels like we're sticking the landing here. I feel like it's that what you're saying is, hey, come with me on this journey toward untamed leadership, and in fact, journey to yourself.
Yes.
And it's not an intense work thing, though there's work involved. It's this returning home to what will then feel like a greater ease of movement, a greater flow. And I think it's part of what, honestly, you bring to this work that's unique because of your work in your art, in what you do as an actor and director and such, is that work calls one to be present and to listen and to hold space for that. What is our primary intention here? And how can I hear where the audience is going or not going? How can I hear what the room is doing or not doing? And how can I show up to that? And so you're calling people to return home to themselves through untamed leadership fundamentally.
Yeah. And to birth with a midwife their work of art into the world in their way, just like Alyssa Liu did.
Yeah.
And it's, the work of art that you have within you right now, particularly when it involves speaking. So I'm not going to coach someone like Alyssa Liu to win the next gold medal.
Right.
I'm not, if someone only wants to write a book, I'm not really going to help them with that. There's something when you're going to stand in community with others and use your voice to create the thing in the world that you want to create, that just lights me up everywhere. I don't care if it's a podcast interview like we're doing, or an actor on a stage, or a speaker getting on a red carpet. I do care about helping them to take their voice to the places that light them up and then be untamed in their presence when they're sharing the work of art that they've brought.
So it's the way you solve for the chaos, the way you solve for the uncertainty, the way you become part of the solution that you long for as a leader and as a person, is by becoming more of your radiant self.
Yes.
And letting that light shine brighter. That's yes, please. And Lauri, I think that's a great place to leave it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Untamed Leader podcast. And if there's nothing else you'd like to add, I really do think that's a great place to leave.
Yeah, I think so too. So both of us are pretty good at feeling arcs, which certain artists are born with, or learned, or untamed. I don't know. The only other thing that I want to say, which I started doing really well in season 2 and I want to stick to, is if this conversation struck you, if you loved it, if it made you think of a friend, do all the things like review the show, rate the show, share the show with the friend that it made you think of, so that we can amplify the pulse of this for the people that are out there looking for it. And I'll see you back here next time.
Thank you, Lauri. This has been a real privilege. Thanks for letting me get to mine your untamed leadership a bit and get to share that more with the listeners before you start mining other people's hearts and souls.
Thank you. Thank you very much.